Jason and Zara spent the next few days quietly at the fortress, recovering and planning their next moves. News of their confrontation with the leaders spread quickly across Zara's home planet. Many citizens were inspired by Zara's bravery and the promise of peace. Others, however, remained doubtful and suspicious. Zara often stood by the fortress windows, watching the forests and fields around them, lost in thought. Jason noticed her quiet moments and understood the pressure she felt. She was now a symbol of hope, but also faced significant challenges ahead. One evening, Zara spoke quietly to Jason, her voice steady but thoughtful. "Jason, we have started something important, but the hardest part is still ahead. Many of my people are afraid of change. They have only known war and fighting." Jason listened carefully, nodding in agreement. "Change can be scary," he said softly. "But they trust you. They saw your courage and honesty. You gave them hope." Zara sighed gently, looking into Jason's kind eyes. "But can I truly lead them? Can I be the leader they need?" Jason smiled warmly, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. "You already are that leader, Zara. You've shown them the path forward. They just need time to follow." Zara felt comforted by his support, nodding softly. "Thank you, Jason. Your belief in me gives me strength." Days passed, and slowly more people came to the fortress to support Zara. They wanted peace and saw Zara as their best hope for a better future. Jason welcomed each visitor warmly, always encouraging Zara and helping her feel strong and confident. One morning, a young warrior named Ellen approached the fortress. She appeared nervous but determined. "Zara," Ellen said respectfully, "I want to help. I believe in your vision for peace." Zara smiled kindly, feeling hopeful. "We are grateful for your support, Ellen. We need brave people like you." Ellen nodded eagerly, feeling proud to be part of the change. More young warriors soon followed her example, joining Zara and Jason. Together, they worked to spread their message of peace and unity across the planet. However, not everyone agreed. Some powerful warriors still opposed Zara, determined to keep the old ways. They saw peace as weakness and decided to challenge Zara openly. One afternoon, a messenger arrived with troubling news. A group of enemy warriors had gathered outside the fortress, demanding Zara face them directly. Zara knew she had no choice but to confront them. Jason stood beside her, determined and brave. "You don't have to face them alone," he said firmly. "I'm right here with you." Zara nodded gratefully, drawing strength from Jason's support. Together, they stepped outside to face the crowd. Zara stood confidently, her voice clear and calm. "Why do you come with threats? Our people deserve peace, not more violence." The enemy warriors sneered, stepping forward aggressively. Their leader, a strong and fierce warrior named Torn, spoke harshly. "Peace is a lie, Zara. Only strength and war bring honor." Zara stood firm, meeting Torn's fierce gaze. "True honor comes from protecting and caring for each other. Strength without compassion only brings suffering." Torn laughed mockingly, stepping closer. "You speak foolishly. Prove your strength or admit your weakness." Zara understood this challenge clearly. It was a traditional battle, a test of strength and courage. She looked calmly at Jason, who nodded encouragingly. "Very well," Zara said confidently. "I accept your challenge, Torn." A circle formed around Zara and Torn, the warriors watching carefully. Jason stood close, ready to help if needed. But he knew Zara had to prove herself without interference. The fight began swiftly, Torn attacking aggressively. Zara moved skillfully, calmly defending herself. She was determined not to harm Torn seriously, but to show her strength and skill clearly as they fought. Zara spoke to Torn calmly. "We don't have to fight. Imagine what we could accomplish if we worked together instead of hurting each other." Torn growled angrily, attacking harder. Zara continued defending herself, patient and controlled. She wanted everyone watching to see the power of true strength and wisdom. Slowly, Torn's attacks weakened. Zara moved swiftly, showing great skill and restraint. Finally, she disarmed Torin gently, standing calmly as the weapon fell away. Torin stared at Zara in shock, breathing heavily. "Finish it?" he demanded angrily. Zara shook her head gently, speaking firmly. "I won't. True strength is knowing when to stop fighting." Torin stared at Zara, confused and surprised. Slowly, understanding dawned on his face. He realized Zara was right. Real strength wasn't in violence, but in compassion and wisdom. Torin lowered his head respectfully, speaking softly. "You have shown true strength, Zara. I was wrong." The warriors around them watched in amazement. Zara stepped forward, placing a gentle hand on Torin's shoulder. "Together, we can build something new," she said warmly. The crowd began to cheer, inspired by Zara's bravery and wisdom. Jason stepped forward, smiling proudly at Zara. She had proven herself a true leader, strong, wise, and compassionate. In the days that followed, support for Zara grew quickly. More warriors and citizens joined her cause, believing deeply in the promise of peace and unity. Zara felt grateful and hopeful, knowing she had started something important. Jason remained by Zara's side, proud and supportive. Together, they traveled the planet, spreading their message and building trust. Slowly, fear and violence began, fading, replaced by understanding and cooperation. One evening, sitting quietly by the fortress, Zara spoke softly to Jason. "I could never have done this without you. You gave me courage and hope." Jason smiled warmly. "You always had courage, Zara. I just helped you see it." Zara felt deeply grateful, smiling gently. "Our journey isn't over yet, but together we can face anything." Jason nodded confidently. "Together we will continue fighting for peace and unity." They sat quietly, feeling hopeful about the future. Both knew challenges remained, but they also knew their bond and strength would help them overcome anything. Zara felt ready and strong, knowing peace was finally within reach. Jason carefully guided the spaceship toward Zara's home planet. As the planet appeared larger through the windows, Zara watched silently, her face serious but determined. Jason could see the worry in her eyes, but also the bravery she had shown. "Since they met, are you ready?" Jason asked softly, breaking the quiet inside the ship. Zara took a deep breath, nodding slowly. "Yes, I'm ready. This fight is important, not just for me, but for the future of my people." Jason smiled encouragingly. "We're in this together, Zara. You won't face them alone." They landed their spaceship secretly near a dense forest far from the main cities. Zara knew her enemies would be waiting, but the forest provided cover. They quietly stepped outside, scanning their surroundings carefully. Moving silently through the trees, Zara led the way. She knew the land well, guiding Jason along hidden paths toward a secret place she once used as a refuge. It was an old, abandoned fortress hidden deep within the woods. When they arrived at the fortress, Zara quickly secured the area. "This place is safe for now," she told Jason softly. "We can rest here briefly and finalize our plans." Jason nodded, feeling the tension ease slightly. He trusted Zara's instincts completely. "Good idea. We need to be careful and smart about our next move." Inside the fortress, they sat down to talk about the details of their plan again. Zara explained more about her people's leadership and the powerful warriors who controlled everything through fear and strength. "My enemies are strong and ruthless," Zara warned, her voice serious. "We must be smarter and faster if we are to succeed." Jason listened carefully, understanding her caution. "We have the advantage of surprise and teamwork. Your people won't expect us to confront them directly." Zara smiled slightly, appreciating his courage and confidence. "You're right, Jason. We must believe in ourselves." As they prepared, Zara became quiet and thoughtful again. Jason noticed her deep concentration and moved closer, gently touching her arm. "Are you all right?" Zara looked up, her eyes filled with gratitude and worry. "Jason, this fight could be dangerous. If anything happens to me, promise me you'll leave and stay safe." Jason shook his head firmly. We will get through this together, he said strongly. I won't leave your side. Zara felt touched by his loyalty and bravery. You have become very important to me, Jason, she said quietly. You are brave, kind, and strong. Jason smiled warmly, touched by her words. And you are the bravest person I've ever met, Zara. After a brief rest, they carefully left the fortress, moving silently toward Zara's city. It was late, and darkness helped hide their movements. They reached the outskirts of the city without being noticed. Inside the city, Zara's enemies had strong guards patrolling everywhere. Zara and Jason had to move quickly, staying hidden in shadows and narrow alleyways. Zara knew exactly where they needed to go, a large building in the city center where the leaders lived. Finally, they reached the building, carefully watching the guards' movements. Jason quietly whispered their plan again, ensuring Zara felt confident and ready. Stay close, he told her gently. We will get through this. They moved swiftly, dodging guards and carefully entering the building. Inside, they quietly made their way toward a large, guarded room where Zara knew the leaders were meeting. Carefully, Zara peeked inside. Powerful warriors and leaders were gathered, discussing their plans. Zara recognized their voices, feeling a wave of determination and anger rise within her. It's time, she whispered to Jason. Together they entered boldly, surprising everyone inside. Zara stepped forward confidently, her voice strong and clear. You must end this violence and fear. Our people deserve peace, not endless war. The leaders were shocked, quickly becoming angry. You dare challenge us, Zara? One leader demanded harshly. I do, Zara replied firmly. We cannot continue living in fear and suffering. Peace and unity are our true strength. Jason stood strongly beside Zara, his presence surprising and confusing the leaders even more. You fight bravely, Jason spoke clearly. But bravery without wisdom leads only to more pain. The leaders were silent, listening carefully. Zara continued passionately. Our people deserve a better future. We must stop fighting each other and work together for peace. Slowly, some leaders nodded thoughtfully, considering Zara's words carefully. Others still looked angry and doubtful. Why should we listen to you? Another leader challenged. You betrayed our ways and fled. I fled to save myself from pointless fighting, Zara answered bravely. But I returned to help save us all from endless violence. Jason added strongly. Together we can build something new. Strength doesn't come from violence, but from understanding and cooperation. The leaders argued briefly among themselves, debating fiercely. Finally, one leader, older and wiser, stepped forward. Perhaps they are right, he said calmly. We have fought for too long. Peace is something we must consider seriously. Others began agreeing slowly, realizing the truth in Zara's words. Zara felt relief and hope growing within her. She looked gratefully at Jason, knowing they had succeeded together. Eventually, the leaders agreed to stop the violence and discuss peaceful solutions. Zara and Jason had done what seemed impossible. They had brought hope and the chance for peace to Zara's people. Leaving the building, Zara felt happiness and relief fill her heart. Jason walked closely beside her, smiling warmly. You did it, Zara, he said proudly. We did it, she corrected gently. Together, we showed my people a different way. Back at the fortress, they rested quietly, feeling tired but happy. Zara knew the fight wasn't over yet, but the first important step toward peace had been taken. She felt thankful to have Jason with her, knowing their combined strength had brought change. Thank you, Jason, Zara whispered softly, deeply grateful. You've helped change my people's future. Jason smiled gently. It was your courage and determination that made this possible, Zara. Together, they sat quietly, ready to face whatever challenges remained, knowing they had each other and the strength to bring lasting peace. Jason carefully guided the spaceship toward their new destination. The planet ahead was small, peaceful, and safe. Zara watched intently through the window as they approached. noticing the gentle blue oceans and green continents below. Jason glanced at her, smiling warmly when he saw her curiosity and interest dot as the ship descended through soft clouds. A peaceful valley appeared below. Jason skillfully landed the spaceship on soft, grassy ground near a forest. Zara immediately felt calm and relaxed when she stepped outside, breathing in the fresh air. "This planet is beautiful," Zara said softly, looking around with amazement. "It feels so peaceful and safe." Jason nodded, happy to see her comfortable. "It's a good place for us to rest and prepare for whatever comes next," he agreed. Together, they set up a simple camp under tall trees. Zara was thoughtful and quiet while helping Jason build a shelter. She seemed deep in thought, which Jason noticed immediately. "Something bothering you, Zara?" Jason asked gently, looking at her with concern. Zara paused for a moment, then spoke. Slowly, "My enemies won't rest. They will keep searching for me. I'm worried about bringing danger to you." Jason stepped closer, placing a reassuring hand gently on her shoulder. "I'm not afraid," he said sincerely. "We will face them together, whatever happens." Zara looked deeply into his eyes, touched by his bravery and kindness. "Thank you, Jason," she whispered. "I am glad to have you by my side." The next day, they decided to explore their new surroundings. Jason led the way through the lush, green forest, and Zara followed closely, alert yet peaceful. They enjoyed the gentle sounds of birds singing and the soft rustle of leaves overhead. It was a peaceful place, and for a short time they both felt safe and happy. Soon they found a beautiful, clear lake. Jason smiled, kneeling down to touch the cool water. Zara joined him, her reflection shimmering in the calm surface. "It's beautiful," Zara said quietly. "I've never experienced such peace and quiet." Jason nodded gently. "Maybe someday your people can learn this peace too." Zara sighed softly, looking thoughtful. "I wish for that day," she admitted quietly, "but I'm not sure it will ever happen." Jason spoke gently but firmly. "Never lose hope, Zara. Change begins with small steps." Zara smiled softly at his words, grateful for his wisdom and kindness. "You always know what to say, Jason." After enjoying the lake for a while, they returned to their campsite. Jason began preparing a simple meal while Zara rested quietly, deep in thought. Suddenly, Zara jumped up, alert. "Jason, something isn't right," she whispered urgently. Jason quickly looked around, feeling the tension in Zara's voice. Moments later, they heard a soft, distant noise growing louder. Zara quickly realized the sound was approaching fast. "They found us," she said sharply. Her voice was steady, but Jason saw the worry in her eyes. Jason quickly grabbed their gear, preparing to face whatever was coming. Zara stood beside him, her body tense, ready to fight. Soon several enemy fighters appeared, landing nearby. They stepped out, heavily armed, approaching Jason and Zara aggressively. Zara stepped forward, brave and strong, blocking Jason protectively. "We are here for you, Zara," one enemy warrior growled angrily. "Surrender now, and we will spare your human friend." Zara refused to back down, standing firm. "I will never surrender," she declared fiercely. "Leave now, and you won't be harmed." The enemy warriors laughed harshly. They moved forward, weapons drawn. A fierce battle quickly began. Zara fought bravely, her warrior skills powerful and precise. Jason used his quick thinking and agility, fighting skillfully alongside Zara. Together, they defended themselves bravely. Zara's strength and Jason's cunning strategies made them a strong team. Slowly, they pushed back their attackers. Zara was fearless, determined to protect Jason at all costs. Finally, the last enemy warrior fled, defeated and wounded. Zara and Jason stood together, breathing heavily, victorious but tired. Zara turned to Jason, admiration and respect clear in her eyes. "You fought bravely, Jason," she said softly. Jason smiled warmly, breathing deeply. "We fought bravely together," he corrected her gently. They knew more enemies would come, So they quickly packed their things, ready to move again. Zara looked worried but determined, knowing they could no longer stay on this planet. Back aboard their spaceship, Jason carefully set a new course. They traveled quickly through space, searching for another safe place. Zara sat quietly, lost in thought once again. "Jason," Zara finally said, her voice quiet but firm, "we can't keep running forever. We must face my enemies directly." Jason listened carefully, understanding her determination. "Are you ready to confront them?" he asked gently. Zara nodded firmly. "I am ready," she said confidently. "And I know we can defeat them together." Jason smiled warmly, proud of Zara's bravery. "Then let's make a plan," he agreed calmly. "We will face them and end this once and for all." Zara felt a deep sense of hope and courage. She knew Jason was right. It was time to stop running and fight for their freedom and peace. They spent hours carefully planning their next move. Zara shared important details about her enemies, their strengths, and their weaknesses. Jason listened carefully, adding his thoughts and strategies. By the time they finished, they both felt ready and confident. Zara looked at Jason, grateful and determined. "Thank you for everything, Jason. I couldn't do this without you." Jason smiled gently. "You are stronger than you think, Zara. Together we can do anything." With a clear plan in place, they set their course towards Zara's home planet, ready to face their biggest challenge yet. They knew the journey ahead would be difficult, but they also knew they had each other. Zara felt stronger than ever, knowing she was no longer alone. Jason felt proud and brave, ready to support Zara in whatever lay ahead. Together they moved forward, determined to change their destinies forever. Jason woke early the next morning, stretching his arms and breathing in the fresh air. He glanced around their small campsite. Zara was already awake, sitting silently near the smoldering remains of last night's fire. Her eyes stared thoughtfully into the distance. "Good morning," Jason greeted her warmly, moving closer. "Did you sleep well?" Zara turned, offering him a soft smile. "Yes, I slept peacefully." It was the first night without nightmares in a long time. Jason felt pleased and relieved. "I'm glad to hear that," he replied, smiling gently. They sat quietly for a moment, enjoying the early morning calm. Then Jason spoke again, breaking the silence. "We need more food and fresh water. I saw a small stream nearby yesterday. Do you want to come with me to collect supplies?" Zara stood quickly, nodding eagerly. "Of course. It will feel good to move around and see more of this peaceful planet." Together, they walked slowly across the lush, grassy hills. The morning air was cool and fresh, filled with the gentle sounds of birds singing and leaves rustling softly in the breeze. Zara seemed fascinated by everything around her, touching flowers gently and looking curiously at tiny creatures that scurried past. Jason watched her with amusement. It was clear that she rarely experienced such peaceful moments, and he enjoyed seeing her relax and enjoy simple pleasures. Soon, they reached the small stream. The water sparkled clearly, flowing gently over smooth stones. "This looks perfect," Jason said cheerfully, kneeling down to fill their water containers. Zara knelt beside him, filling hers as well. As they worked, Zara glanced up suddenly, alert. "Did you hear that?" she asked quietly. Jason paused, listening carefully. "I don't hear anything," he said softly, scanning the area. Zara slowly stood up, eyes narrowed. "Something is nearby," she insisted, her voice firm but calm. She stepped forward, listening carefully. Jason felt his heart beat faster. Zara's instincts as a warrior were strong, and he trusted her judgment. He stood quietly behind her, ready to follow her lead. Suddenly, a soft rustling sound came from the bush nearby. Zara tensed, ready to fight. Jason stood close, holding his breath. A moment later, a small, furry creature hopped out from the bush, staring at them curiously with large, bright eyes. Jason chuckled softly, relief washing over him. "It's just a small animal," he said gently. Zara relaxed slowly, her fierce eyes softening. Yes, she admitted with a small smile. I suppose I am still jumpy after all the fighting. Jason placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. It's understandable, he said warmly. You've been through a lot, Zara sighed softly, nodding. Thank you for understanding, Jason. They gathered their supplies and slowly walked back toward their campsite, Zara becoming quiet again. Jason sensed her deep in thought and didn't interrupt her silence. He respected her need for quiet moments to process everything that had happened. Back at their campsite, they prepared a simple meal from the food they had collected. While they ate, Zara finally broke her silence. Jason, do you ever feel afraid? Jason paused, looking thoughtfully at her. Of course, he said honestly. Fear is natural. But bravery isn't about not feeling afraid. It's about moving forward despite being afraid. Zara nodded slowly, absorbing his words carefully. On my planet, showing fear is considered weakness. Jason looked at her gently. Maybe true strength is showing how you really feel and still doing what needs to be done. She smiled softly, clearly comforted by his words. You have taught me many things already, she admitted quietly. Jason smiled back warmly. And you have shown me what real courage looks like, he replied sincerely. Suddenly, Zara's face grew serious again. Jason, my enemies will not stop looking. For me, we can't stay here forever. Jason nodded in agreement. You're right. We should find a safer place and plan our next steps carefully. They spent the afternoon planning their next move. Jason remembered a remote planet known for its peaceful people and protective laws. It was far away and hard to find, making it a perfect place to hide and recover. Zara agreed with his choice, trusting Jason's knowledge and judgment. As evening fell, they prepared the spaceship for departure. Jason carefully set the navigation controls, plotting a safe course through space. Zara sat beside him, watching his careful movements with admiration. She trusted him completely, feeling safer and calmer by his side. Finally, they were ready to leave. Jason started the engines, and the ship slowly rose from the ground. Zara watched through the windows as the peaceful planet became smaller and smaller behind them. She felt a brief sadness leaving such peace behind, but she knew their safety was more important. Traveling through space once more, they sat quietly side by side, both lost in thought. Jason finally broke the silence. Zara, whatever happens next, we will face it together. You're not alone anymore. Zara smiled softly, her fierce eyes gentle and full of trust. Thank you, Jason. I never thought I would trust anyone, especially a human, but you have shown me kindness, bravery, and hope. Jason felt warmth fill his heart. And you have shown strength, honesty, and trust, he replied sincerely. As the stars rushed past the windows, they both felt hopeful and ready for whatever awaited them. Their journey was uncertain, but they knew they could handle anything together. Jason watched carefully as Zara slowly woke up. She opened her eyes, confused at first, but quickly remembered where she was. Sitting up, she looked around the small spaceship, then turned her attention to Jason. Her expression was careful, uncertain about what to expect next. Feeling better? Jason asked softly, offering a friendly smile. He kept his voice calm and gentle, hoping to put Zara at ease. Zara nodded cautiously. Yes, I am stronger now. Thank you, human. Jason smiled again, sensing her uncertainty. My name is Jason. You can call me that instead of human, he gently suggested. She paused, then nodded slowly. Jason, she repeated, testing the name. My name is Zara. It's good to meet you, Zara, Jason said warmly. I'm glad you are safe now. Zara stood up slowly, her movements cautious. She examined the small cabin of the spaceship, noting its simplicity. It was very different from her own people's advanced ships. Turning back to Jason, she asked, Why did you risk your life for me? We are strangers. Jason thought for a moment, then answered honestly, I couldn't just watch someone get hurt. It didn't matter to me who you were. Helping was the right thing to do. Zara studied Jason quietly, her fierce eyes softening slightly. Not many would risk their lives for an alien warrior, she admitted quietly. Jason shrugged lightly, trying to make her feel comfortable. Maybe not, but I'm not most people. I travel to meet new beings and learn from them, not to fight or harm anyone. Zara looked curious. You are a traveler, not a warrior, she asked, clearly surprised. Jason chuckled softly. No, not a warrior. I'm just an explorer. I want to understand different cultures and worlds. She seemed thoughtful for a moment, then spoke with a slight sadness in her voice. My people believe that strength and power are everything. We live and die as warriors. Jason listened closely, sensing her sadness. But you don't believe that? He asked gently. Zara sighed softly, shaking her head. Not anymore. I have seen too much suffering. Fighting and war bring only pain. Jason nodded, sympathetically. Maybe that's why our paths cross. Maybe we can learn something from each other. Zara's eyes brightened slightly, intrigued by Jason's words. She sat down, feeling more relaxed. Perhaps, she said softly. Tell me about your world, Jason. Jason sat across from Zara and began to describe Earth. He spoke about the oceans, forests, mountains, and cities. Zara listened carefully, asking questions about human life, customs, and traditions. The more Jason talked, the more Zara seemed interested and amazed. Hours passed as they shared stories about their worlds. Zara told Jason about her planet, a place of constant struggle and battles. She explained about her family, her training as a warrior, and her dreams of a peaceful life that always felt impossible. Jason felt deeply connected to Zara as he listened. She was strong and powerful, yet beneath that strength was kindness and hope. He admired her courage, not just in battle, but also in sharing her true feelings. Your people seem very strong, Jason finally said. But maybe true strength comes from choosing peace instead of war. Zara looked surprised but thoughtful. I never thought of it that way, she admitted. Peace has always seemed weak, but now I see strength in your kindness and bravery. Jason smiled warmly. And I see strength in your honesty and willingness to think differently. Maybe together we can help your people see this too. Zara nodded slowly, feeling hopeful for the first time. Maybe you're right, she whispered softly. Maybe change is possible. As they continued talking, Jason and Zara began to plan their next steps. They needed supplies and a safer place to rest. Jason knew of a nearby planet that was peaceful and remote. Zara agreed, trusting his judgment. Jason guided the spaceship carefully toward the new planet. Zara watched him closely, fascinated by how calmly and confidently he handled the controls. She felt safe and comfortable in his presence, a feeling she had rarely experienced before. They landed smoothly on the beautiful planet. Green hills stretched far, covered in soft grass and colorful flowers. Bright blue skies greeted them, and the air smelled fresh and clean. Stepping outside, Zara took a deep breath, feeling relaxed and peaceful. Jason watched her quietly, happy to see her so calm and content. Together they explored their new surroundings, enjoying the beauty and quiet of the place. As the sun set, casting a gentle glow over the land, Jason built a small fire. Zara sat nearby, gazing into the flames, deep in thought. I never imagined life could be this peaceful, she admitted softly. Jason smiled gently. Peace is always possible, he said quietly. Sometimes it just takes a brave step to find it. Zara looked at Jason, her fierce eyes gentle and full of respect. Thank you, Jason. You showed me that bravery isn't just about fighting. It's also about caring for others and choosing peace. Jason felt warmth in his heart. I'm glad we met, Zara. Me too, she whispered, smiling softly for the first time since they met. They sat together in comfortable silence, enjoying the peaceful night. Both knew their journey was far from over, but for now, they were safe, and they had each other. They felt hopeful about the future, ready to face whatever came next. Jason Carter looked carefully at the screen in his small spaceship. Around him, stars glittered softly in the deep, dark space. But below, a fierce battle raged violently on the surface of a nearby planet. Explosions burst brightly, lighting up the darkness like a fierce storm. Jason was a simple explorer from Earth. He never wanted to join wars or get involved in fights. He traveled through space to see new places and to learn about other planets and beings. However, he could not ignore the pain and suffering below. His heart felt heavy as he watched the fierce combat unfold. Zooming the image closer, Jason saw warriors fighting bravely against invading forces. Among them was one warrior who stood out clearly. She fought bravely and moved swiftly. Her name was Zara, although Jason did not yet know this. Her armor shined even in the dust and smoke, and her movements showed both strength and skill. Jason kept watching. Suddenly, an explosion sent Zara flying backward. She landed hard, rolling over the rough ground. She struggled to get up as enemies quickly closed in around her. Jason felt his heart beating faster. He knew he had to do something quickly, without thinking much. Jason guided his ship downward toward the battle. The ground shook from explosions as he landed nearby. Jason took a deep breath, opened the ship's door, and stepped outside. He felt the heat of the battle and heard the cries and shouts echoing around him. "Here goes nothing," Jason whispered to himself, gripping his small but powerful weapon. He rushed toward Zara, dodging blasts and debris. Zara was barely holding off her attackers. Her eyes briefly met Jason's, filled with surprise and confusion at seeing a human rushing toward her. Jason fired his weapon carefully, scattering Zara's attackers. Some of them fell. Others retreated in confusion. Jason quickly reached Zara, who lay wounded and breathing heavily on the dusty ground. She looked up at him, her fierce eyes softening slightly with relief. "Who are you?" she managed to ask weakly. "I'm Jason," he replied calmly. "I'm here to help you." Without another word, Jason gently helped Zara to her feet. She was heavier and taller than humans, but Jason was strong enough to support her weight. Together, they slowly moved toward his spaceship, dodging falling debris and avoiding enemy fire. Inside the spaceship, Jason quickly secured Zara in a seat and returned to the controls. "Hold on," he shouted as the ship shook from another explosion. Outside, the engines roared to life, and Jason swiftly guided the ship upward and away from the planet's surface. In space, the battle grew smaller behind them. Zara sat quietly, staring at the screen. She was tired, injured, and confused by the human's bravery. Finally, she spoke softly. "Why did you help me, human? You could have been killed." Jason smiled gently, glancing back at her. "Because it was the right thing to do. I couldn't watch you suffer and do nothing." Zara nodded slowly, processing his words. She had always thought humans weak or selfish, but this one had risked everything to save her life. Her mind filled with many questions, but for now, she allowed herself to relax and rest. Grateful to be alive, Jason quickly programmed the ship to move to a safe location far from the battle zone. He knew they would need time to recover and to plan their next move. Looking back again, he saw Zara closing her eyes, her breathing steadying as she drifted into sleep. Jason felt relief wash over him. He had done something good, something brave. He had saved someone's life. Yet, he also knew that by helping Zara, he might have made powerful enemies. He was not sure what would happen next, but he felt ready for whatever challenges awaited as the stars gently moved past the windows. Jason thought about the strange events of the day. Never in his wildest dreams had he expected to rescue a powerful alien warrior. He wondered about Zara's people, her history, and why such powerful beings were at war. After a long, quiet journey, the spaceship finally reached a small, quiet planet. It was peaceful and safe, far from battles or enemies. Jason carefully landed the ship and took a deep breath, knowing they were safe, at least for now. He looked again at Zara, who was now sleeping peacefully, her fierce face relaxed. He knew the journey ahead would be difficult and full of unknown dangers. But as he watched Zara rest, Jason felt a new sense of purpose. He had traveled to learn and explore, but now he realized he was also meant to help others, even powerful warriors from far-off worlds. Jason smiled softly, feeling proud and hopeful. "Rest! Well, warrior," he whispered, "our journey is just beginning."